Hello, I'm Edith Newmeyer, and I'm the author of the book, The Mystery of Adam. Today, I'm going to talk about the mystery of Revelation. And I'm going to talk about chapter 13. So let's get started. I have talked about Revelation before, and specifically this section, the beast out of the sea. So if you go the third temple and the beast out of the sea, and the third temple and the beast out of the earth, then you will get more information on the subject. And now I will build on that information that I presented in those two videos. So I'm not going to repeat what I've already said. I'm just going to build on it. So again, I want to just briefly talk about, again, we are in chapter 13, the beast out of the sea. Who is this beast out of the sea? Now, people compare this beast out of the sea with the Antichrist. And okay, you can stretch it, but when you talk about the Antichrist, there is a very strong theology about the Antichrist, that this Antichrist will come at the end, maybe even during the wrath of God, which many call the Great Tribulation. I don't call it the Great Tribulation. You know that if you're following my videos. I call it the wrath of God. Those are possibly 7 years before Jesus returns literally on Mount Olive and establishes, not Olive, Mount Zion, and establishes his kingdom, his 1,000-year reign. That's what I'm talking about. So the 7 years prior, possibly 7, maybe 3.5, before Jesus establishes his reign on earth, his 1,000-year reign. Okay, and we will discuss that later on in Revelation. But this is what people believe about the Antichrist, that he is coming way at the end, that he's not here at this point, but he may come anytime. But I'm saying that is absolutely, I don't believe that is true. Okay? This beast out of the sea is not that type of an Antichrist. This beast out of the sea is also, some say, and I agree with that, that it is the little horn of Daniel. So when you go to Daniel, it's the little horn. And those two, when you read the description, are very similar to each other. So that's why you can say that's the same beast. Now, if you want a description, a biblical description of the Antichrist, you cannot find that. Okay, very few things is said about the Antichrist, which is, of course, you can find that in First John. He just says that he is against Jesus, that he denies Jesus. But it's not a description of any ruler that will come that you can call Antichrist. That's why I don't like to use that word. John says there were many Antichrists before, and there will be one, and he's thinking about a specific Antichrist that's coming. Okay. Yes, you can call it, but when you do, you always have that in your mind, because so many teachers, false teachers, have put that in our mind. They have actually conditioned us to believe that this Antichrist is this end-time ruler. Okay, and I will show you today that that may not be the case. That this end-time ruler, this end-time world government, world religion is more likely the prophet than the beast out of the sea. So the false prophet, which is the beast out of the earth. But let's start. When we need to think where we are going to place this beast out of the sea. Okay, we have to think about it. Remember the timeline again, the Revelation timeline. We are starting, and I believe, I kept saying that the timeline starts with John, but really I think John is seeing things prior to his birth. Like, for instance, he sees the woman in the sky, or not sky, in heaven, that gives birth, which I really think is Jesus. Okay, and so she gives birth to the Son. which I believe is Israel that gives birth to the Son. So this has happened before John even was born. So the timeline of Revelation can be even longer than that. But it spans the whole thing until the new heaven and the new earth is coming down. So past 1,000-year reign of Christ. So when you look at that, you need to think, where does that beast go? And if you know it is, you can compare it to the little horn of Daniel, it's easier than to place it. Also, this is easy when you know about Daniel, then it's even easier. We know that Daniel, in the beginning of Daniel has a vision of this statue, okay? And the statue is made up of different types of metals. The head is of gold, then there's one of brass, iron. Okay, I cannot tell you all the metals, but all kingdoms or empires are mentioned. Okay, first of Babylonian, Persian, Greek, Roman, and then of course the last empire, and you can look that up in Daniel, where the statue is. And the last empire, last empire is an empire that came directly out of the legs of the Roman Empire. The Roman Empire was made out of iron, okay, which is the torso and the legs. And then out of the torso and the legs come, of course, the feet. And the feet are a new empire, even though that empire is closely related to the Roman Empire because it is made out of iron and clay. So it's mixed. It's mixed with iron, which is type of the Roman Empire, and it's type of something else, the clay. So this last empire has to come out of the Roman Empire and has to have a very strong connection, of course, to the Roman Empire. So we need to think, what empire is that? Okay, we are looking back. What empire came out of the system, government system? Okay, think about a government system or similar to it. It's similar to an empire. It's totally new. Think about it. It's very new. It's a very different construct. What came out of that Roman Empire? Now remember, in this statue, there is no in between. Okay, you have the Persian coming out of the Babylonian, the Greek out of the Persian, the Roman out of the Greek. Okay, there is no like gap of thousands of years or even hundreds of years. It's one after the other. So now think about what empire came out of the Roman Empire, and I'm talking about right after. Okay, some people want to call that the revived Roman Empire. Okay, well, what empire is that? That is the empire of papacy. Okay, when the Roman Empire fell, the papacy tried very, very hard to keep things together. And the papacy tried very hard to revive that Roman Empire, to keep it kind of in existence. So that's why I believe that this beast out of the sea, okay, is the papacy. Because the papacy is that empire that was immediately attached to the Roman Empire. It came totally out of the Roman Empire. Mixed with clay means it's different than Roman, but still somewhat Roman. Okay, and so that's what we're having when we're looking at the beast out of the sea. Very important to understand. Okay, it says that 1 in 3 says one of the heads of the beast seemed to have had a fatal wound. But the fatal wound had been healed. When did that happen? I think I said that in my last video. It happened when the papacy was almost put aside during Napoleon's time. Napoleon um, wanted to destroy papacy, and for a time the Pope was exiled, and it looked like the papacy was dead, but it got revived. Of course, after Napoleon was captured, and I don't know what year, but the Vatican was given back to the papacy by Italy. So there you have the revived papacy. So that is, and then you read the description. The dragon gave it power. Yes, dragon. Of course, Satan gave the papacy its power. They came to power because of the dragon. So who can wage war? It says with the beast. Very specific. It was given power to wage war against God's holy people and to conquer them. Holy people means the saints. Okay. Who had power? Who has power to wage war against the saints? Only the Roman Catholic Church did. Wage war against, was given authority over every tribe, people, and to conquer them. Who was that? Every tribe, people. Who was that? That was again papacy. It wasn't specifically, England or any of the empires, the worldly empires. It was Rome. Rome had power over every nation, every country. Okay, they did at one point. They did have power, and they still do. They still do. So you read the description. It's very, 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 very clear that this beast out of the sea is the Roman Catholic Church. And again, let me say something here. The people in the Roman Catholic Church, the believers, are just as blinded as everybody else in the world. Okay, we're all blinded to this. And the people in the Roman Catholic Church are blinded to this. So nobody can blame a Catholic for what's going on. But I'm talking about here is papacy. I'm talking about the organization, not the people that are following, that sincerely probably want to worship God and Jesus. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about an organization that was very, very corrupt from the beginning, that killed all the true believers, until 1500, until the Reformation. Every true believer was killed. Every true believer. Okay. Make no mistake, the Inquisition killed all true believers, and there were only a few people left over, and of course, then you had people coming out of the Roman Catholic Church, few of them that proclaimed the gospel, and even they were killed. Luther was very lucky. Who was the other one? Calvin, Zwingli. All these people were very lucky that they were not killed and they were protected. So I'm sure God had a reason to get the Reformation on, and so people again will come to believe in Jesus. But yeah, even today, people are still being killed for their faith. So that's why I always say that the saints came through great tribulation, and that is not the wrath of God. It's not the same thing. Great tribulation is not the same as the wrath. Great tribulation is usually associated with the saints, okay, not with the unbelievers. So therefore, this is very important. I have to bring this in. So, but I want to finish up today with this beast out of the sea because it's so obvious. It's really, really obvious. I want to spend more time on the beast out of the earth, because in my video, I have not talked very much about who this beast, I have only speculated who this beast out of the earth is. And I think when it comes to the beast out of the earth, we can only speculate. Okay. Oh, just a little bit to the beast of the out of the sea. So where do we place it on the timeline? Well, we place it when the Roman Catholic Church was formed. Okay, so it's way before the wrath of God. It's not wrath. It's for 2,000 years almost. The beast out of the sea existed. Now, when we go to the beast out of the earth, it's a different story. Okay, in my last video, which was called the Third Temple and the Beast Out of the Earth, I speculated it was America. Okay, because right now America is the empire of the world, and they have the ability to bring down fire from heaven. They can make, they already, if you compare what the United States can do today, and you would tell John about it, it would be all about signs. Okay, we can do lots of signs, like bring fire down from heaven, like I said, create an image, and that image actually is talking. That's what John was talking about, bringing that image to life in a sense, giving it breath, giving it ability to talk, to move. That is our motion picture that has come into place. Okay, the ability that everybody needs to worship the image is in place today, because we have all the ability to see instantly what's going on, and they have control over who is worshiping the beast and who is not. Okay, all you have to do is, like we do today on Facebook, you see the video on real time and you click and you like and hit the like button. That is worshiping the beast. If you worship the beast, if you support the beast, you bow down to the beast, click the like button, and that's just it. Okay, that's how easy it is today. So all this is in place, and it's in place because the United States is the empire and the United States has the ability. However, when I went over this information again, something different came out. The reason why something different, yes, the United States is in the forefront, but how much do we hear nowadays about shadow government, deep state, one world government? We just had Bush Sr. dying, and we heard all the speeches, his famous speeches about the 1,000 points of light or something like that. The new world order. That was his thing. He was given the permission to speak about this new world order. Okay, he was probably the first one who was given permission to openly speak about the new world order. Now everybody talks about, every politician is talking about this new world order. Okay, so what is this new world order? Is it already in existence? See, we think, oh, they're working towards this new world order, but is this new world order already in existence? And I believe it is. It is, okay? It is right now in hiding. That's why we're talking about shadow government and deep state, because this new world order is already in existence. However, it's in hiding, so nobody can pinpoint where it is. We can say, oh, it's the Illuminati. Oh, it's the elite. Who is actually pinpointing what the new world order is, what the shadow government is? Nobody can really pinpoint it. Who is really working behind it? Well, some people say, and I know I'm getting right now into something that is political, and Matter of fact, I have to say that my last video that I made was gone. Um, I was not at home for a couple of days, and when I got back, this video that I made about this same subject was all of a sudden gone. I couldn't find it anymore. So now I had to redo the video. So I don't know what happened, if I accidentally deleted it, but everything was messed up on my computer. So it is very possible that, I don't know, did somebody hack my computer? I have no idea. But so I'm getting kind of political right now. And of course, nowadays you have to be very careful what you're saying politically. And of course, this may step on some of these people's toes because they don't want you to know who they are. They want to work in secret. Now we know who is really behind all this stuff, right? We know who put the beast out of the sea in place, the dragon. The dragon is behind it. We know that the dragon is behind this beast, the beast out of the earth, because the beast out of the earth, what does the beast out of the earth do? It gives honor to the beast out of the sea, right? So, because it says in 14, verse 14, because of the signs, it was given power to perform on behalf of the first beast. It deceived the inhabitants of the earth. That is very crucial right there. It deceived. And people, this is just not your simple deception. This is your deep deception. So when we're talking about shadow government and deep state, tell me if that's not a deception. That is the biggest deception, to make people believe that we actually have a democracy, that we actually have a choice who we're going to vote for, when we know pretty much that we don't have a choice. We don't have a choice anything. Somebody is behind the government and is controlling it. Now, many people today believe, oh, this deep state or deep government is all behind the Democrats. Behind the Democrats. Republicans have nothing to do. Oh, yes, some Republicans have something to do with it. But no, Trump has nothing to do with the deep state. Oh, no, no, no. He wants to clean the swamp or drain the swamp. And yet, Trump didn't do nothing. He didn't drain anything. There's still, the swamp is still going on. The deep state is still going on. The deep state is still running everything. Trump is doing nothing different than what Clinton has done, what Bush has done, what Obama has done. Nothing is different. Yeah, Trump has a different character. He's a different character, and so therefore things come out differently. But Trump is not doing anything different than what Obama did. None whatsoever. So, for me, that means Trump is part of this, what we call deep state. And that deep state or shadow government is running the government today. Period. That includes Trump. Okay? Trump has been in control by money. All right? He is not this independent, wealthy person. He depends on the people that supported him. He has gone through bankruptcy and got money from various bankers. And he is in debt to those bankers. Okay, and he cannot do anything without their permission. So, no, he's not independent. Trump is also part of this deep state and of this shadow government. Okay, so behind this American empire, what we have today, and America is an empire, right? There is already a new world order. There is already a shadow government, and the shadow government is a world government. That shadow government is already in place in Europe and all over the world. They act like they are quarreling with each other, okay? But they don't really. They all work together. Now, we know already that the United States and NATO works together. So all the countries that belong to NATO, they're already lumped in with the United States, which is Europe. Europe is not independent. Okay, Europe owes the United States because they did win the war, the Second World War. And so that's why all they're the allies of the United States. And so they already are mixed in with NATO. Now we think that Russia is on one side and China on the other side of the United States and their enemies. I'm not quite sure about that either. Okay, I'm not quite sure how the shadow government or the deep state, again, world deep state, is really behind everything. And they're just making it look like they are quarreling with each other. Now we know that when the Soviet Union fell, um, the government broke together. We know that the bankers, there were certain bankers, and I can tell you there's Rothschild bankers that were in Russia dividing things. They are the owners. The Rothschilds are the owners of Russia right now. And guess what? Who is in charge of France, England, and the United States? The Rothschilds. Okay? So now let's talk about who is this elite. I can say Rothschilds, I think they're part of it, but it's very hard for us to find who is behind. Who is this elite? Who are the people, the 1% that own everything? Those are the financial people, right? The bankers, the money people. One of the examples of the elite is the American Federal Reserve. We say Federal Reserve and we think it's a government reserve, but it's not. It belongs to a group of people that really own the United States. It's just the way it is. You can find out who is the Federal Reserve, who owns the Federal Reserve. Okay, find out. Those are the people that are truly running this country, or at least they're a group of it. Because, see, this what they call elite is a small group on top. And this elite is made up of different groups until you finally get to the way top. I mean, it gets smaller. You think about a pyramid that gets smaller and smaller. On top is the all-seeing eye. You see that on the dollar bill, right? Pyramid, way on top, the all-seeing eye. Who is this all-seeing eye? Some of you should know who that all-seeing eye is because it comes out of the Egyptian religion. Okay, that's Horus. Okay, that is Horus. So, who is representing Horus? Well, it's Satan, the dragon. Okay, it's the eye of the dragon who oversees everything. Now, people very seldom talk about that, which I understand because maybe this video is going to be erased again. So, but way on top is the dragon. And then underneath are various organizations that work towards this one world government, okay, under the dragon. He was on top of the Roman Catholic Church, the papacy, no doubt. And he is on top of this beast out of the earth. We can read it, okay? This beast out of the sea has power to do all kinds of signs and to deceive the inhabitants. Do you see it? How we have been deceived to believe, oh, we have this and we have democracy and blah, blah, blah. And in reality, this one world government has already been in development for a long, 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 long time. If you look up Illuminati, do some research about Illuminati, when they started. Matter of fact, it goes even beyond the Illuminati. Try the Knights Templar. Go back as far as the Knights Templar. Then you need to think, oh, where did the Knights Templar get this idea? Oh, maybe you can get even further than that. Because you know what? The Knights Templar, you know what they were into? They were into very strongly finding out everything about Solomon and the temple. Oh my goodness. The Knights Templar were on the site and dug around and found everything about the secrets of the King Solomon. So now go back to King Solomon and think, what did King Solomon have in mind? He was in cahoots with demons and supposedly was controlling demons at the part of his life when he didn't listen to God anymore. So yeah, how far can we go back with this plan about creating a one world government in a one world religion? Pretty far, okay? So now you know kind of how many people are involved in it, and you can do the research on this. There's plenty of things out there still. Now I suggest that you hurry up and research, because I think this research is going to disappear pretty soon, because nobody wants you to know what's really going on. Remember, it deceived the inhabitants of the earth in verse 14, or chapter 13, verse 14 of Revelation. This beast out of the earth, okay, deceived everybody. That is not, some people think, oh, this Antichrist, because we were filled with such a false doctrine about what the Antichrist is. I don't want to use the word. Okay? We were filled with false doctrines. There are so many false teachers out there. False teachers. And they have they have so many followers. I don't have any followers. I have what? How many descriptions do I have now? Not even 90. I'm going to celebrate when I have 90 descriptions. I'm going to celebrate when I have 100 subscriptions. And these people have thousands of these subscriptions. Okay? Thousands of followers. And they're teaching the wrong thing. They're not teaching the truth. No, I am not, I don't see everything. I look like everybody else, like look at things dimly. I mean, what Paul says. We all need to work on this and bring information together. But I don't think I am that wrong. What I see today in politics, and I usually have not talked about politics very much, but this is part of what politics is, okay? This is politics right here, the beast out of the earth. That's how close to, and of course the beast out of the sea, okay? This is it. So when did this beast out of the earth start? How does it overlap on the timeline of Revelation? It has started a long time ago. I have just mentioned. It can go back way to Solomon. Well, if you want to talk about Solomon, do you know why Solomon got on the throne? That's because David was deceived. And that is even, oh my goodness, people are thinking that is bad. But if you look at that story about how David was deceived, that is interesting. Okay? Because, see, and I think I should be bringing this in. The grandfather, the great-grandfather of David. So it was the grandfather of Bathsheba, David's mother. He had a dream or a vision, actually a vision, saw in the stars, in astrology. Are we supposed to dabble in astrology? No, we're not. But he saw it in the stars, in astrology, that someday he will be a ruler. Okay? So he believed that he would be a ruler. And he wanted to take the kingship away from David. So that's why he helped Absalom, David's son, to take down his father, because he thought if he helps him, then he can take down Absalom, and he has, he's on the throne. Okay? Well, that didn't happen. So, because that didn't happen, but he still saw it in the stars, guess what? Somebody wheeled and dealed, and I'm not going to say who it was. You can do your own research. But for some reason and somehow, Bathsheba got married to David, and she convinced David to make her son the next king. Okay? Because almost the other son would have made it, but Nathan, the prophet, and I believe he is a false prophet, stepped in and made sure that Solomon would become king. Now, of course, we need to know that Jesus came out of the lineage of Bathsheba as well. Okay, so God is using things. But it's not out, Jesus didn't come out of the lineage of Solomon. He came out of the lineage of Nathan. Okay, of Nathan. And you can see that in, I believe, Luke. Luke is telling you that one. So, but anyways, they didn't see it that way. They wheeled and dealed until Solomon became the king. Why? Because Satan knew that Solomon would be an easier target for him to get him to worship him, which Solomon did. Solomon did dabble in the cult, not just dabble, he was right in the smack. He would deny his faith, okay, in Jesus. He did not follow the commandments of God, and he went into the occult. So when he built the temple, I believe that's when it happened, because he was exposed to people. When he built the temple, he was exposed to people that would lead him into the cult. Some people say, oh, it was his multiple wives that caused him to worship idols. It wasn't just idol worship. It was literally dabbling, not dabbling either, getting into the occult. Okay? And the occult always have Lucifer on top. And so again, here you understand now what happens. Solomon builds the temple. He uses all kinds of sacred geometry, sacred geometry, which are not from God, but from devil. Okay, pre-flood, possibly pre-flood geometry, sacred geometry, how to destroy God. Okay, and the Knights Templar found it, and of course then the Knights Templar turned into the Freemasons, and the Freemasons turned into the Illuminati, and or a part of the Illuminati. And okay, I'm going to say the word. I also believe not only the Illuminati, the Jesuits, and the state of Israel have part in that. We're talking about Kabbalah, of course, which is very occult. And probably traces things back again to Solomon. So you have quite a lot of things. Zionism, actually, I'm going to do Zionism, has a lot to do with this whole organization, this whole top organization, what we call Illuminati. You can do the research. I have given you even more information than what you can find in most places. Okay, but I know I have talked quite a lot about it, and if I talk more, I should probably do another video, and I really want to come to the end today. This gives you plenty of information, and yeah, check it out. This is all interesting, and I know I told you lots of stuff, and it sounds like conspiracy stuff. That's because it is. It is conspiracy. I'm sorry. Okay, you were supposed to be deceived. How else can you deceive somebody unless you have a conspiracy? And so, yeah, when people say, oh, conspiracy theory, no, there's no theory. A conspiracy is a conspiracy, and it happens, and it happens right now. There's lots of conspiracy going on against us. Lots of deception, and that's why this beast out of the sea can very likely be the new world order, which already exists behind the scene, in the shadows, okay, in the shadows, deep state, whatever that is. These are stupid names, okay, and nobody really wants to explain them very well. And they're names that we are allowed to use, but still don't know what it means, okay, because we're still kept in the dark. We're still being deceived. Okay, nobody tells you, hey, this is what happens, because wow, if we would wake up and say what's happening, well, people maybe would wake up. Again, people that want to wake up will wake up. People that don't want to wake up will deny. Okay, that's just the way it is. I will finish up today, and one important thing. You will not understand it if you don't belong to Jesus. If you're not connected to him and have the Holy Spirit, you will not understand this stuff. You will deny it to the end. I had somebody talking about the bride of Christ. And he was telling me, oh, that's not even a concept from the Bible. And I'm thinking, if you're not a part of the bride of Christ, if you're denying that you're the bride of Christ, how can you tell me anything about the Bible? Okay? You can't, because you don't have the Holy Spirit. We are the bride of Christ. Okay? That's just the way it is. Now, if you don't know it, I know it's not obvious in the Bible. It's not very obvious. Okay? I learned about that. It's more secretive. Why? Because the bride is God's pearl. Okay? It's Christ's pearl. You don't just throw it before swine. So anyways, but finishing up, and hey, subscribe. I'm waiting for 90. Or actually, I'm waiting for 100 subscribers. That would be really great. So subscribe. Give me some comments. I want to learn too. If I am on the wrong track, please let me know. I hope that this video will finally get online so you can view it. All right. See you next time.